Well, here we are on Thursday with our GMP follow-up for our birthday week. And we're having a great time together doing a variety of sessions with a variety of people and our interviews. And I'm just having a great time with our participants and in past weeks with our missionaries, our mission partners that we have served with in a variety of countries. And today we have several of our members, our participants that have traveled with us numerically a number of times. And so I want to introduce them to you so you'll know them. Our first one is Dave Kirby. Dave, say hello.
Good evening. Nice to see everybody.
And then right next to him, if everybody's looking at the same pictures I am, is Tim Smith. So Tim, say hey.
Hey, it's good to see you again, Camp.
Good. And then to add, apparently we have a dog who wants to get into the image.
Is that a fire dog?
No, that's not mine. Sorry.
Oh, that's mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, to add some beauty to our discussion today, Tami Price is with us. Tami, say hi.
Hello, everybody. Sorry about the barking.
And today I just thought maybe they could give you some of their perspective because they've been on a number of projects. Tami, do you remember about how many you've been on?
18.
18 projects, 18 of our GMP mission projects. Tim, how about you?
Well, I was scheduled for 18 this year with South Africa, but I'll wait. And so I've been on 17, and 18 will be at least the South Africa for sure.
And we still need a drummer for Poland. And
yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. Dave, I think you're the long-term guy. How many trips have you been on with us?
I've made 32 trips, and a couple of domestic trips. Three of those, but that's not in the 32. Those are international trips.
Well, anyway, it's so good now. So these people have some experience. By the way, I'm hearing a little bit of clicking somewhere from something. Can y'all hear that?
Yes, I thought it might be Tim's click track or something.
I don't have it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, hopefully it's not going to bother anybody. We're already seeing some of our friends sign on, by the way, to say hey. Dave, your brother Dennis is saying hey, and
cool.
Tony Garrett just signed on. He said, "I know all these people." And, a handful of our other folks from literally around the world. Gerardo Villagran from Guatemala, and Gerardo's been with us on every single interview that we've done, and it's good to see him again. And and even Michelle Milam is with us today as well, has jumped on board with us too. And Jose Muniz, who is over in China and serving and teaching there. John Broughton is good to see you. Sherry Pope, good to see you. And Wayne Davis and Laird, good to see you guys. So I think I want to just kind of approach this a little bit, first of all, with each of you individually to give you a chance to respond. And Tim, in the trips that you've been on, the projects that you have been on, and everything, tell me some of the really, maybe even just one or two things that just really ignited the desire to do more.
Yeah, it's really hard to pick just one or two, actually. But one of the things for me that I've found that has meant a great deal to me is the interaction that I've been able to have with the other musicians. I started doing this with UCamp in 2012, and that was an orchestra trip, and I met some people there. One of them, Jeff Balch, who actually is in the same city that I live in, and got to know him. And there's a lot of other people that I've gotten to know on these trips. I've been with Dave many times, Tami a few times, and it seems like when we get back together, whenever it may have been 2 or 3 years since I've seen Dave, but when we get somewhere, it's like we've never been apart. It's like it's this family that's unbelievably tight. And then there's always new people to meet. Every event that we go to, every mission trip we make, well, we always meet at least 5-10 people that we've never met in the orchestra. And the other thing I can say is getting to meet the people on the ground, the missionaries too. When we leave, and that night before we leave, when we're getting up at 4 a.m. to catch a flight, and they're telling us through tears how amazing it has been and what we have done to help their ministry, that means a lot, that they can tell that their ministry has been energized because we have come and helped them. And that makes me feel like we definitely have made a difference. We may not see it right now, but we definitely have made a difference in their lives and in their ministry.
And it's made a difference in your life as well, I know.
Yes, sir.
And I love hearing that, and I love the connecting part. Before the GMP trips, you had never met Dave Kirby, right?
No, sir. No.
And you'd never met Tami Price.
Nope.
And so these were friendships that happened quickly. I always say that our teams land and we have 1 3-hour rehearsal and we meet each other for the first time, and we have to bond fast.
Absolutely.
And yet, it happens every single time. Mm-hmm. It really does. Hey, Tami, tell us a little bit about the same kind of thing for you.
Well, my first trip was December 2006 to Guatemala. And one of the things that I remember about that trip is actually being in line at the airport when we were leaving. And I was just so spiritually full, emotionally full. It was just an amazing, really life-changing trip. And behind me in line in the airport was a woman who was chatting with our bass player. Many of you probably know Ron Freed. And she was saying, well, did you build a house? No. Well, did you, build a medical hospital or anything like that? And Ron was going, no, we play music and, that kind of thing. And I just thought to myself, having been through it that first time, nobody will ever convince me that we didn't build something there.
Absolutely.
And that's the case in every single time. And like Tim said, it's so filling for us. We think we play music because that's what we do, but there's so much more to it than that.
And that's what that is God allowing us to be a part of what He is doing, right. And part of that always results in His blessing coming into our lives as well. I never feel that wherever we've been or whatever country we're in at the time, I've never felt like, I just don't know how much longer I can do this. It just tires me out. I just can't wait till the next one. And I just really do feel that way. How about you, Dave?
I was on the first Cuba trip in March of 2004. I had never made an international trip of any kind before, and got the opportunity to go with y'all. And I made friends in Cuba that are still friends of mine. Some of them are in countries around the world. Some of them are back in Cuba, but we stay in touch with each other and we are friends with each other. So for 16 years now, and some of them were Christians at the time and some of them were not, but now most of them are Christians. And every place we go, this is the kind of connections we make with the local people. I remember the first time we went to Russia and made friends with all of our translators. Right. And I still hear from them from time to time too.
That's awesome. I mentioned that Michelle Milam signed on with us. Some of our people that are watching may not know who the Milams are, but they're our partners in Portugal that we have served with on multiple occasions now. And based on what the responses of Tim, Dave, and Tami have just been, Michelle said in her statement just now, she said, "You all certainly do make a difference in our ministry." And so what a blessing it is to know that our mission partners we are definitely with them, serving with them, and that we are helpful. I mean, that's our goal. I've always said that whenever we leave a country at the end of our brief 10-day total project, our goal is that our mission partners will be stronger in their ministry than when we got there. And our desire is not for them to be weaker. And so we want them to we want to have help them gain more relationships and more connections in their locations for sure. Tim, are there any specific things on any project that has really led to something significant in your life? I say boldly.
I wondered where you were going with this. I'm like, man, I thought I just answered that question. Yes, I met my wife on one of the trips, so that definitely has been a life-changing event.
And it is every day.
Yes, it is. It is.
And how's your Hungarian doing? Are you getting better?
She's doing very good, very good. If I could
No,
get her...
I mean, how is your speaking Hungarian doing?
Oh, no. That's still quite sketchy. Yes.
Esther, Tim's wife, was one of our translators in the country of Hungary on our first visit, and consequently multiple visits after that. And it's always neat to see once again God connecting the dots. And
amen. He
God
always has a plan.
Yes, God has a plan.
I've heard that.
I have too. Tami, anything, in all seriousness, anything significant specifically, maybe that you recall that was a great event on a project for you?
Well, you all have probably heard me tell the story. I know a lot of our participants have heard me tell this story before, but it's just such a sweet, simple little story to me. We quite often will do workshops and master classes and things like that in schools, which is amazing. And we were at what we call elementary school. It was a primary school in this particular country. And because I didn't have any vocal students, I went around and was able to observe all of the other players. And in the brass workshop, I was standing in the back next to a teacher, and there was a little boy in the room, just, I have please call on me kind of thing. And whoever the horn player was answering his question, and his teacher looked at me and she said, he never speaks up in class. So there was something about the music itself, the spirit that it was presented in, that led him. It was the Lord leading him to feel comfortable enough to go ahead and get out of his typical comfort zone, sort of. So those are the things that we can never know.
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't anticipate it either. We don't know the things that are going to happen. That's the reason I tell all of our potential participants, whenever they're asking me questions about going on a project, I always tell them, first of all, you don't have to learn anything new. You're taking this gift that God has already given you and you're using it for what He gave it to you for, which is for His glory and only for His glory. And you bring that instrument or your voice, and which is your instrument, and use it for Him wherever we go, and let Him speak through you. And then doors they're always going to open for conversation. Music is such an incredible connector, magnet to draw people. Everybody loves music. Everybody loves some kind of music. And so I've just seen it happen time after time where those conversations open, and we have that chance to serve together doing that. Dave, you had several opportunities in Russia in particular. Now you were there. Were you there when our host there hired the 5 college girls as translators?
Yes. I that summer, the next summer that we went there between Ukraine and Finland, and then the summer after that where we went back to Volgograd, and we connected with the girls every time. And one of the things that was most important, I think, about that trip is that basically we had the opportunity to connect with these translators and also with professional musicians who were there, who were not believers, but they had the chance to be around us. And we had the privilege of being Christians among them in a country that was not particularly happy about non-Orthodox Christians. And I think the connections that we made there were pretty unique and some of them eternal. I think when we went to Vienna, and that was one of the more intriguing Metro big band trips, where the Metro only played together as a band twice because of a lot of things, and so we broke up into small groups. But we were told after one of our Dixieland bands finished playing at a park that people had come up to the missionaries and asked them questions and asked about Bible studies, and they were ecstatic, because in the years that they'd been there, no one had ever done that before. And we were feeling, oh, well, only 2 or 3 people reacted. And they said, are you kidding? 2 or 3 people reacted. Because you came and brought a unique way of presenting the gospel to them, a unique way of presenting music to them. That's a humbling and wonderful feeling.
Indeed. I still remember specifically for those of you that are not familiar with this, when we were in Volgograd, Russia, on the project that I mentioned today first, our host had employed 5 young university ladies as our translators. They were all studying English for potential for a career, maybe as in diplomatic roles or whatever, using the English language. And but they were all intentionally hired because they were not believers.
Right.
And the idea, of course, as Dave said, was that they were going to be hearing everything, hearing and translating everything we were saying all week long. And I thought, what a brilliant idea by our host to have that opportunity to be around these young ladies. They were beautiful young ladies, and they had, it was really only just a few days before they really connected with us, first of all, personally, and then began to learn about who we were. Because they didn't even know that our host was a believer either. They didn't know. He was strictly an American who brought American musicians over to Russia. And it was so neat to meet them and to see their lives affected by Christ living in us and them seeing something different about us. I remember one conversation in particular. We were in a school for special needs kids, and only 4 of the translators were functioning at that time because the kids were going to 4 different rooms to hear different parts of our band. One of the young ladies was sitting out in the main part of the building with our host, who is our mission partner there, and she said these words to him, which I find amusing and interesting and compelling as well. She said, I've been around musicians, and I've been around bands, and there's something different about these people. They even like each other. And that our host translated all this for me after the fact. And he said to her, and this is all in Russian, of course. He said to her, well, these are the kind of people I like to bring because they're so much easier to work with. And she said, well, how do you know they're going to be that way?
Yeah.
That was the magic question, because he immediately replied to her and said, do you really want to know? And she said, yes, I do. And he immediately told her a number of years ago that he had met Jesus Christ as his Savior, and it had completely transformed his life and made the way that he acted different and the way that he reacted different in every way. And he said, all of these people in this group are like that too. And he left the conversation at that. And so then the rest of the week, she was spent watching us to see how we were acting and reacting to situations. And I think that's the evidence of a testimony of Christ living through us. I mentioned this a few days ago on one of our interviews, that in my church back in Jacksonville, Florida, where I was raised, that we had a 6-week series of lessons in our Bible study every year. It was called Lifestyle Evangelism. And the whole purpose is living for Christ and letting people see you living for him. Wherever you are, whether it's in the office, whether it's in the grocery store, but no matter where you are, reacting like Christ would have you to be. And that in itself being part of your story and your testimony. And, even in countries where we've been where we did not speak the language fluently at all, which is most of them outside of English speakers for most of us, even in those places, the spoken word doesn't carry the significance that seeing the life being lived. And that's an incredible part of our testimony. Well, actually, I've just loved being here with you guys, and our time is really kind of up. I never want to belabor these and run them too long, but I do want to give you a chance for anything maybe that you would like to mention to any of our potential participants, people that might be considering joining us or anything. Tim, how about you first?
Yeah. Well, one thing I learned on my first trip with camp is whenever you go on these trips, they're a lot of fun. You meet a lot of really neat people, but you work quite a lot too. And that's the one thing about GMP. It is a team. It is a teamwork event. When we get on the ground, everybody's setting up, everybody's taking down, everybody's rearranging an entire auditorium if camp wants it done that way. And so we just... it is an amazing trip usually, and it will change your life, but don't come expecting it's going to be a vacation. It is fun, and we eat really good too. I guarantee you that. But you will work, and you will be a witness to somebody, and you have to remember that everywhere you go. Like you were saying, the Christ living through us and everything we do, we are a witness. Whether we're getting on, off the bus, or playing our instrument, anywhere we're at, we are definitely going to make a difference in somebody's life there. And we just want it to be a difference that Christ can use us.
How about you, Tami?
Well, I can only speak to the jazz band, but one of the things I love about it is the multi-generational aspect of it, whether it's in the band itself and also with audience. We've played, like I said, elementary schools, and we've played senior citizen homes, and there's somebody in the band that can relate to everybody in both situations. Well, not elementary school children, obviously, but
we all were elementary school children.
But I have been affected very well by people who maybe have been older than I am, and now that I'm getting a little bit older, I like to think I can have a positive impact on those that are younger than I am too. So that has blessed me.
How about you, Dave?
I go back to something that you said on our very first trip that really struck me. And you said, from the very first day that you stepped on a football field with your instrument in your hand, God has been preparing you to be here on this team at this time. That's how far ahead God thinks. Even though we had no idea, he knew we were going to be here together. And so make the most of it. And I think I think about that every time I go on a trip, that God knew what he was doing all those years ago when he started us down this path. And I think that is a marvelous and humbling kind of way to carry his spirit with us wherever we go.
I love that. And Tim, Dave, and Tami, it's been great to have you here with us today. I've got a lot of great comments from people that are writing in, and glad to see them responding to the things that you're saying. And for any of you out there that are considering, maybe you haven't been with us in a while, or maybe you haven't been at all, I think their testimony should certainly make it attractive to you to potentially join us on one of our upcoming projects soon. You can be a part. All you got to do is sign up and just come and go with us. So anyway, hey, God bless you all, and God bless all of you who are watching us right now, and all of you who will view this video later on, maybe today or tomorrow even. And we look forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be back, and I'll be talking about a variety of things, including my favorite foods on these projects. And also tomorrow we'll be giving away 4 $250 scholarships to anyone who has been registered for a mission project this week. You can do it all the way through tomorrow now. The interview is going to be at 5 o'clock Central Time tomorrow again. And so you can register for a project anytime up until 4 o'clock or so tomorrow, and your name will be put in there for the drawing of the 4 $250 scholarships. God bless you all, and we hope to see you all soon again.